Greetings and salutations, everybody. Hey, everybody. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about my top 5 busts. Now, similar to last week, like I mentioned, top 5 is too little. I'm talking about like 10 guys today, okay? Let's be honest. There are probably going to be more busts this season, but I've set... Okay, so this is the way it worked. So when I first started Patreon, I didn't want to overcumber myself with too many responsibilities in terms of putting out too much content, but I did promise you guys top 5 sleepers, top 5 busts, and wide receiver stacking video. The wide receiver stacking video should have released already by now. But if it hasn't, something went wrong, somebody called the police. But, okay, what we're talking about here is we're talking about busts. Now, I want to talk about probably 3 guys at the wide receiver, running back, and tight end position that I think probably have more of a potential to be bust this season, rather than having the upside that a lot of people are considering or anticipating they will have. So that's basically what we want to talk about. Now, the couple names that I have on this list next to me, it's going to ruffle some feathers. Now, I know some of you have drafted these players, but I want to be totally honest. I think that all of these guys have the potential. I mean, they're NFL athletes. All of them have the potential within their respective offenses to have great seasons. But unfortunately, they have shown stuff in the past that leads me to believe that there's a possibility that they could end up being bust this coming season. And I think, yes, I hope they all prove me wrong and end up being great this year. But only time will tell. So, number 1, it's Derrick Henry. Oh, what a surprise. Andrew's bagging on Derrick Henry again. It's not a surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise. Please, guys, please avoid Derrick Henry. I'm telling you, it's going to hurt. Derrick Henry is either going to injure himself or just be outsnapped similar to what he was last year by Dion Lewis. I 100% think that those 2 games that he had last season, that I think accounted for 70 fantasy points. I mean, literally 2 games accounting for 70 fantasy points. Literally 6 touchdowns and like 400 something yards in a matter of 2 games. That is an outlier. That does not happen on a weekly basis. There is a reason why you don't see running backs running for 200 plus yards and 4 touchdowns on a weekly basis, because that does not occur. Okay, sure, Derrick Henry did it once in his career, but what about the 2 seasons prior? He couldn't beat DeMarco Murray. He couldn't beat Dion Lewis this last year to have the full reign of the backfield. The guy can't catch the ball out of the back. Listen, I'm just tearing him a new asshole, but that's not the point. That's not the point I'm trying to make here. I just wanted to have you guys understand that avoiding Derrick Henry is not the worst thing that you can do. Okay, let's be honest. Derrick Henry is extremely volatile. I've mentioned it before. In the first 12 weeks of last season, the dude averaged 6 fantasy points per week. He was a garbage can. Sure, the final 6 weeks when they had Blaine Gabbert in and they were fumbling and trying to figure out their offense, sure, he torched terrible defenses. Okay, if we want to go and look at his potential strength of schedule, let's do that actually. Andrew has it available here. Let's check here. Let's pull up the Tennessee Titans strength schedule, because in those last couple weeks, you destroyed a Jacksonville defense that had 0 heart. You destroyed the Giants, who were terrible against the run. You destroyed what? Who else? The Redskins, which were also really bad in the back end of that season. Let's see RB strength of schedule. I've got the thing right here. In terms of strength of schedule, can I get this page to open, please? Wow, it's still loading. Interesting. In terms of strength of schedule, going into 2019, they have the 20th toughest or easiest. Let's say they have the 20th easiest schedule in terms of the running back position. That's not accounting for, hey, guess what? Taylor Lewan missing the first 4 games of the season. That hurts so badly. Having your left tackle, and I've even seen stats where Derrick Henry, in those couple of weeks that he was destroying defenses, ran to the left side of the offensive line almost a majority of the time. Taylor Lewan is an all-pro left tackle, and him missing for those first couple weeks, it's going to hurt. I think it's going to leave a sour taste in many people's mouths. Sure, if you want to go ahead and lock down his potential value for later on in the season, maybe trade for him after he starts ending up like a garbage can, sure, you can go for that. But even looking at his playoff strength of schedule, he's got they have the 27th easiest. So that's extremely difficult. I mean, holy moly, in terms of my metrics, but Anyway, Derrick Henry, I think it's a risk. Okay, sure, you can end up getting a guy that might end up being an RB2. But instead of drafting Derrick Henry, where he sits currently, why not take a guy like, because I know people have him ranked like in the 19s or 18s or 20s. Why? Take Josh Jacobs. Take David Montgomery. Take Chris Carson. Take Leonard Fournette. Please stay away. Please. I'd rather you draft just about anybody. Not Derrick Henry. That's all I'm saying. I hope I get proved wrong. I hope I do. I hope Derrick Henry rushes for 10,000 yards. I just don't see that as a likely occurrence to happen this year. I can't see it. I can't. Moving on. Another running back that I think is a bust. A guy that's going in the top 12. Yes, a guy that is going in the top 12 who I think is a bust. And it's not Todd Gurley. Nope, that's not Todd Gurley. It's Le'Veon Bell. Now let me tell you why. I do not like Adam Gase. This is basically all my opinion, right? This is what you've come here for. Patreon is all about Andrew's opinions. I do not like Adam Gase. The fact that Adam Gase gave the ball to Frank Gore more than he gave to Kenyon Drake last year in that offense scares me without a doubt in my mind. Why would the Jets go and sign Le'Veon Bell only to follow up by signing Ty Montgomery, keeping Elijah McGuire, and then signing Bilal Powell to this roster? Somebody explain that to me, because I'm really curious. Well, what? Andrew has the answer? Yes, I do have the answer. Adam Gase actually got the general manager of the New York Jets fired because he signed Le'Veon Bell. I'm not kidding. Go look this up. So what happened was the Jets signed Le'Veon Bell. Then Adam Gase finally got the head coaching job. He went to the guy up top called the owner and said, hey, I need you to fire this guy because I want to be the head of player personnel. So he did. He fired him because he didn't want Le'Veon Bell. He's even said it in an interview. I wouldn't have spent so much on Le'Veon Bell. I wouldn't have even signed him. What the? Excuse me? Yes, he said this. Go, please look it up. I'm telling you it exists. That scares me. For a guy that is going as like the number 8 running back right now, that is frightening. That is absolutely frightening. To have a coach that didn't even want you on his roster and thinks that you're being overpaid or it bothers me. So I'm afraid of Le'Veon Bell. I think he may have been a product of the Pittsburgh Steelers system. Yes, he has that running style that is very patient, but hey, if your offensive line is garbage and you can't patiently sit behind offensive linemen to wait for blocks to actually develop and you're getting hit in the backfield, then what? I mean, let's be honest. You're going from one of the best offenses in the NFL, from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Jets. Your quarterback, Sam Darnold. I mean, guys, it's risky. I'm telling you, there's a reason why I have Joe Mixon ahead of Le'Veon Bell a lot. It's because I'm way more comfortable in the prospect of playing Joe Mixon in an offense, which I know what he's going to be able to do, rather than Le'Veon Bell in an offense I've never seen him perform in. It scares me. So that's that. You can go ahead and draft him. I know many of you have him. I've even drafted him in leagues. But it scares me, plain and simple. I think there's a potential for him being a bust. Moving on. Another running back I want to talk about, Kareem Hunt. Please avoid him. Please avoid him. Do not draft Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb is a more talented running back than Kareem Hunt. Now, I know, but you may be thinking, what? How is Nick Chubb better? I'm telling you, he is better. He's going to prove it this season before Kareem Hunt is finally eligible to play. And by that time rolls around, Nick Chubb's not giving this job back. Instead, you're going to have Kareem Hunt sitting on your bench for 8 solid weeks, absorbing one of those valuable bench spots. And then what's going to happen? He's going to finally be active, and he's not going to get touches. And it's going to hurt fantasy owners. I'm telling you, it's like drafting AJ Green right now. Sure, you can draft AJ Green right now. You're going to miss out on the first month of production from AJ Green. And then you got to hope that he comes back and ends up doing something or doesn't get injured. Kareem Hunt, you're hoping that this team wants to give Kareem Hunt the ball 10 times. Because what are you going to do on 6 carries? You're not going to do anything on them. Really? I mean, on an average basis, sure, you get 30 yards. Okay, 3 points. No big deal. There's no upside there. It just hurts. I mean, they have too many mouths to feed already within this offense. Kareem Hunt is a guy that I think is really going to be a bust this year, and I'd suggest avoiding him. Moving on. Let's get to the running back position. I know there are other guys that I personally think could end up being busts. If you want, ask away, guys. Literally, this is the whole point of Patreon. The whole point is for you guys to ask and for me to answer your questions. There's a reason why I'm not going into the YouTube comment sections to answer questions, because a lot of those questions are just blatantly toxic or you know what I've seen a lot? Andrew, would you take this guy or this guy? And then they don't even tell me the scoring format, guys. I've been yelling at people for the last year plus, telling me the scoring format. I'm not going to answer those questions. I'm not doing it. Moving on. Let's talk about wide receivers. Guys that I do not like and are scary and are going to be busts. Number 1, Allen Robinson. Should come to no surprise. I do not like the number 1 wide receiver of a Bears offense. Why? Because the Bears don't pass the ball enough. Mitchell Trubisky is not a reliable enough quarterback, to make his wide receiver as relevant as we think he potentially could. Now, I understand Anthony Miller could be a better wide receiver 1 for this team, but Allen Robinson, I can't see it happening. I really cannot. I do not think Allen Robinson is as good of a wide receiver as many think. Sure, he had that one good season with the Jacksonville Jaguars in garbage time, but going forward within this offense, you have 3 running backs that are going to be fed. You have Mitchell Trubisky that's going to run the ball himself, and you've got a plethora of wide receivers. Besides Allen Robinson, you have Anthony Miller, you brought in Cordero Patterson, you have Taylor Gabriel, you brought in Riley Ridley. There are so many pieces that I don't see Allen Robinson being a good enough pick to be a wide receiver 2 this year. So maybe wide receiver 3, but to be honest, I think he ends up being a bust. Moving on, another wide receiver, Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins has not played a full season in his entire career due to injuries. His entire career. How can you tell me, Andrew, I like Sammy Watkins, I like his upside, if you know for a fact that the guy is going to miss probably 4 games, minimum. The guy he cannot stay healthy. It's unfortunate. Sammy Watkins, his rookie year with the Buffalo Bills, was amazing. He was so good with Tyrod Taylor. They were a great combination there. Even LaShawn McCoy was good that year. But since then, really, I mean, even when he was with the Rams, even last season, sure, you're associated with the best offense in the National Football League. But if you can't stay healthy and stay on the field, Mecole Hardman or what is his name? Damn it. To be honest, I don't even remember that third wide receiver's name. It starts with a D, DeMarcus something? Interesting. Moving on. I don't know, man. Sammy Watkins just scares the crap out of me. I think like drafting him, you just have to inherently know that he's going to miss time. Plain and simple. Sure, he can end up producing in fantasy, an 80-yard bomb real quick. Doesn't make a difference. He scores, he's relevant. But with the other pieces within this offense, I know Tyreek Hill's going to get his. I know Travis Kelce's getting his. And I know the running backs, whoever it may be, whether it's Damian Williams, Darwin Thompson, they're going to catch the ball to the backfield as well. And I think Sammy Watkins, he's the 4th receiving option on this respective team. And I think because of his injury history, I don't want to touch him. I think he might end up being a bust. Another name I wanted to mention at the wide receiver position, similar to another player on this list, he is on the Jets. It's Robbie Anderson. Now, why is this the case? Again, this one has to do with quarterback play. The last one had to do with injuries. This one has to do with quarterback play. I don't know if we can trust Sam Darnold to produce a wide receiver 2 within his respective offense. Yes, he's an extremely inexperienced quarterback. The guy didn't play an entire season last year because of that injury. He looked good at the back end of the season, but Robbie Anderson, especially with the injuries that has been reported, and he probably might not even play week 1. Oh man, like that is already a bad sign. That's nothing that you want to hear for a wide receiver you've drafted or anticipate on drafting. If you're not going to be ready for week 1, similar to like a Keenan Allen, it's a bad way to start the season. It's a really bad way to start the season. And I think Robbie Anderson within an offense that I personally don't trust. I don't like Adam Gase, like I mentioned before. It's pretty much like it hurts. It hurts. I don't like saying that I want to completely avoid these guys because I think they're good football players and they can be good fantasy prospects. But Robbie Anderson scares the crap out of me, plain and simple. Especially at the ADP that he's coming off the board as, close to the wide receiver 2 conversation, like 27, 28. That is it might be a little too high now that we know about this injury. Moving on, let's talk about some tight ends. Mark Andrews, number one bust in my opinion. Now you may be thinking, Andrew, you have him at like your 13th ranked tight end. Yes, that is hope. I'm hoping this guy ends up being a great tight end, but you have Lamar Jackson as your quarterback, and Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball to save his life. Sure he can. Andrew, you can throw the ball. Yeah, I know you can. For 5 yards in front of him, 10 yards max, 15 if somebody tipped it and it landed in one of his receivers' hands. Bless, okay? But Lamar Jackson, it shouldn't be relied upon to create a tight end in the 2019 landscape. Let's be honest, the tight end position is bleak and it's terrible. It's been battered over the last couple of years. If you don't draft one of the top 8 tight ends, Kelsey, Ertz, Kittle, Hunter Henry, Jared Cook, Eric Ebron, OJ Howard, or that's it. That's 8. Vance McDonald, 9, maybe. No, not Eric Ebron. Scratch that. Evan Ingram. Excuse me. Look, somebody. I think Antonio, you literally said that you made a mistake by drafting Ebron instead of Ingram. I just made the mistake by saying it. Okay, thank you. The whole point is, if you don't draft one of those top 8, 9 tight ends, you're going to be in some trouble. And I think Mark Andrews is a guy that could end up being a bust. Why? Not Hunter Henry. What's his name? Hayden Hurst, another HH. Hayden Hurst still exists on this lineup. There are so many tight ends in the Ravens offense. Let me go find these guys. Here we go. All right, let's see what we got here. In terms of the Ravens depth chart, as of 2019, tight end position, you still have Mark Andrews, Hayden Hurst, Nick Boyle. All of those guys are going to be vying for targets at the tight end position. All of them. I don't care if Nick Boyle is considered a blocking tight end. The guy has caught balls out of the backfield. He has caught balls down the field. And it's going to hurt Mark Andrews. I'm telling you it is. I know they want to use the tight end position as a safety blanket for him, but Mark Andrews could end up being a bust. Moving on. Another guy, tight end, TJ Hawkinson. There's a reason why everyone consistently shit on Eric Ebron I almost said Evan Ingram. Eric Ebron for the last couple of years. When he was in Detroit, he was awful. Now, what exactly does that mean? Eric Ebron was a top 12 tight end in 2017. He was the number 12 tight end, sure, but he had 700 receiving yards. Last year, he had 700 receiving yards. Now, you may be thinking, okay, I like what you're going with, Andrew. Where are you going here? TJ Hawkinson is not going to be as fantasy relevant as people may consider him to be, because this guy's not going to get red zone work. I'm telling you, they're not going to give him the red zone work. Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola, Kerryon Johnson, even Kenny Golladay are going to be ahead of him. In terms of targets in the red zone, he's not going to be as high up as we want him to be. And that's where tight ends find value. When they're getting a lot of work in the red zone, Kelsey, Ertz, Kittle. Thank you. That's what we want to see. Those guys were getting, I think Ertz had the 3rd most targets amongst all receiving options last year. Like, in the red zone, excuse me. Let's be honest. I don't think a guy like a rookie tight end is going to come and just blow the doors off the league, especially at the landscape that it currently stands. So it's a guy that I know you guys may be considering. I don't like it. Other players that I wanted to mention. To be honest, anybody on the Broncos can be a bust this year. Phillip Lindsay, Royce Freeman, Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton, Joe Flacco, Deshaun Hamilton. God, Keyshawn. That's Keyshawn Johnson from the Cardinals I was thinking of. Deshaun Hamilton, all of them. All of them have the potential to being busts this year. I don't know what the heck the Denver Broncos are going to do. Sure, they want to run the shit out of the ball. But if Lindsay and Royce Freeman end up both running for 800 yards apiece, they're both busts in my eyes. I want to see a clear number 1 back out of this offense. And if we get a bunch of guys that are just going to be flex options, it just hurts. It hurts. But I think even the passing game, I don't know how much we can trust Joe Flacco or how long Joe Flacco is going to last until they put Drew Lock in. If they're ending up, if the season starts where the Denver Broncos are 3-11, you think Drew Lock's not going to come in the game? I think he will. Maybe even earlier. Maybe if they're 3-7, they might put in their prospect for next year. There's always a potential. So that kind of stuff, I just want to be careful with, right? I'm not as scared as the Giants putting in Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones has proven. I mean, he's looked fantastic in preseason that he's going to be able to run this offense for the future. I mean, he's pretty much mini-me in terms of Eli Manning. It looks like mannerisms, throwing motion, like everything looks like Eli Manning, okay? Maybe their stature is a little bit different, but still. Anyway, those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you, everybody, for watching via Patreon. Supporters, thank you so much, guys. Means the world to me. So thank you again. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.